Okay, hello everyone, this is Pedro again from Python, and today I'm gonna record a video just to give you an explanation of what a ORM is and how to do one in Python using one of the most used and known called SQLalchemy. So first, but before I go any further, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, like the video, and click the bell to receive notifications. Okay, let's go. So what is an ORM, or object relational mapping? So what it is, I Google and then I found this article, which I think is good enough. It's not all language specific. It's from Free Code Camp. So object relational map is a technique used in creating a bridge between objects-oriented programming and, in most cases, relational database. There is also, when it's relational, it's called ORM. There is also for document database what they call ODM, which is object document mapper. So basically, when you are developing an application, the ORM are good to model your database relationships in classes, and then you can create methods to do operations in your database or do queries. You can create new records, delete, read, and update, basically the 4 operations of a database. And then do joins and everything that you need to do with your data, but with the focus of like building an application. And there are lots of advantages that you would use a ORM. First, all the interactions with your database are not going to be text, like queries when you use a SQL client, when you are just doing queries. But when you are writing an application, there is an advantage that the interactions with your database be like code, and then represented by classes, and then you can have methods in that classes. You can then use all the benefits of OOP, or object-oriented programming. So without further ado, let's give an example in Python on how this is achieved. So I have my IDE here. So I created like a directory. And let's go to the tutorial of the SQLalchemy website. So the first thing you do when you are creating a ORM is define your model. So you have to declare your model. And then the way you do it, every table in your database is a class. And if you know Python, it's pretty much like a data class where you have fields and then you can have methods in that class. So using SQLalchemy, there is this base class which already comes with a bunch of methods already built in the database, like add to a database and delete and so forth. But whenever you create a new class or a new table, it always inherited from this base class, which is the declarative class, which is going to be the root scheme of your database. So for example, this is a simple database model where you have only 2 tables. You have a user table and we have a address table. Both are, like, if you think about modeling, are dimensional tables on your database. For example, the user will have like an ID, which is going to be a primary key. It's also, there is the name of the string type, size 30, and then you have a full name, which is a string, and also has got a foreign key relationship with the table addresses, which is right here, where you have also a primary key ID. You have a email address, a string, a user ID, which is, in this case, is a foreign key that relates back to the user table, which is here, the relationship populate. And here at the end of each class, you have like a repo function just to print to the output what is the ID, name, and full name. We'll see in the terminal when you run that code. Okay, let's then create a Python file and just copy this thing. Go to my environment. So create a Python file called, I'll call it like I'll call create model. Yeah, for the lack of another name. And let's just create a Python virtual environment here with SQLalchemy. First the virtual environment. That's not 2 seconds. And then I'll activate it. And then I will repeat if I do it. What's happening? 2 dashes. Cool. Okay, pip is upgraded. Yeah, it's a clean slate. Let's install. I think it's capital, but so let me just copy this one. Just make sure that I install the right package. Cool. I already had in cache. Was pretty quick. So yeah, it's installed. So let's then, what's happening here is now it's create a model. So the second step, you have to create a database engine which connects your model to the database and even can create schemas and tables in the database. All right. So let's go back to the tutorial. So once you declare the models, you have to create an engine. Okay, let me just copy this, which is pretty much, I'm just gonna move that, sorry, move that to the top. Yeah, I'll put it at the bottom here. So which is pretty much like create an engine, you connect to a database. I'm just gonna use SQLite and call it database .db. Okay, and then I'm putting the option here equal true. So whenever I do a interaction with database, it's gonna print in the standard output what happened in SQL. We're gonna translate what I say in Python to a SQL database that I'm using here, which is SQLite. Cool. So next step, and then you have to create all the tables. So to create the tables, you emit a create all tables DDL, so which is gonna be that one. So let's put that into a function. I'll call it createDB schema. Cool. And because I'm using this as a program, I'm just gonna put as a script, sorry. Yeah, that's it. I'm using the Copilot here that's kind of helping me to write a code. I don't need to type too much. So that's what I want. So let's run it. What's gonna happen is it's gonna declare the model and then create a scheme in database. So this database doesn't exist. It's gonna just spin up out of thin air. You're gonna watch right now. So Python create model. Yeah, so can you see that a database pops up here? It's a binary file, and all the create table statements was sent to the database, and the database was created. I'm just gonna now use this tool called, I'm in a Mac here. I'm just gonna disconnect this one. This was the driver that I did that before. So what's gonna happen is that 2 tables were created, the address and the user account table with the fields, but there is no data. but they were created in databases there. So let's do the for operations now. So I'm just gonna create a new Python file called CRUD, which we are gonna do the operations here. So from the other file, let's put from create model import. I'll import the engine, which is going to be that one. And then I will do first. We do the for operations, which is CRUD. So first one is create. So I'll do it in a function. Create, yeah. So, and then I'm just gonna return none. Cool. So I'm just copy and paste the code here from SQLalchemy, which has got a good example. So to create, to interact with database, we need to create a session. So let's import that at the top. And then let's copy this code here. And I don't need to import again. I'll just indent that part and I'll explain that to you. All right, so what I'm doing here, I'm creating a session, and then what I do is I create an instance of that class, which in this case is a user called Bob Sponge, and then I have the name, full name, and also I have a relational field in the other table, which I can then put in that list the addresses, which is another object, which is a nested object here, and then I put in email address here, and this relationship is like one to many, so you can have as many addresses per user here. And then I create a new user called Sandy, and Sandy Creeks, and this person has got 2 email addresses. And then finally Patrick, which hasn't got any email address, which is okay. So the email address is going to be a no relationship. And then at the end, you can just do a session at all, and then put the objects here, and then you commit the objects will be in the database. So let's run this. I think it's gonna work fine. Do I need to import session? Yeah, I do. I'm importing. Yeah, I think it's gonna be all right. So let's do Python. My editor is not complaining. Let's put CRUD. Create. From create model. Create model. Import engine. No, it should work. Yeah. So let's go to database. Let's see if the objects were created. What's going on? No. Absolutely. I have to call this function. How silly me. Okay. Yeah. Now it's gonna work. Name. Oh my god, you know, that's the problem of believing and relying on the AI. Sometimes you don't think. Yeah, now it should work. Didn't complain. No, it didn't work. What's going on? What am I missing? SQLalchemy engine. What's happening? Oh, I know what's happening. User and address. All right. Now it should work. It doesn't look like it's working because it's not printing out to the console. Let's see. Cannot believe I did this mistake. Finally, it's working. Yay, so the database is populated. You know what? Sometimes you think that AI is gonna help you. It sometimes doesn't help you much. In this case, I lost maybe a few minutes here. So yeah, the database is created. The data that we populate, so we create records in the database. Let's go back. Let's do the next one, which is read. So to read, so I'm using the I create like an engine, so I'm just gonna query from here, do a simple select. I'm just gonna import select. Import at the top. So how the way it works is, once you have a session, you can do a statement. So in this case, so I'm querying. I'm selecting the user table where the username is in Bob Sponge and Sandy. And then what's gonna return is let's do for user in session scalars statement print user. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Let me just execute the read and see how it goes. There's no user session scalars. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so what it's doing, it's a statement, and then on that statement, so scalars method execute that statement, returns the users, and then I'm just iterating to that collection and printing the user. So did you remember on that repo? So it's gonna print here the user ID, name, and full name. So that's it. Let's do update now. An update. So I'm just gonna do update none. I'll create a session. Thank you. The statement, it's going to be yeah, make changes. Let me just copy this. Cool. So basically, the change that I'm going to do is, first I do a query to select the user that's name is Patrick's, which is that one, and then I verify if that one exists by using this .1 here. Otherwise, we'll handle an error here, and then I'm just gonna append an address. Do you remember that Patrick didn't have any address? Let me see. Address. Yeah, Patrick hasn't got any address here. Yeah, there is SpongeBob and Sandy. So you're creating an address to Patrick, and I'm also changing the send email address to that one. And then after that, I need to commit the session to make sure that everything's recorded in the database. Okay, let's do the update. Ooh, okay. I think I'm just gonna delete this, and it should work. Yay! So Patrick now has got an address. Let me just check. Yeah, cool. Last one, let's delete, which is the easy one. I'm just gonna do another one. Delete. And yeah, okay, thank you. So I'm just gonna select a user called Sandy, checking if that one is okay, it exists. And then I'm just gonna do a session delete Sandy and commit. So let's delete. And because we have that cascade all, if we here, can you see that there's a relationship and everything is cascading? Delete all the orphans. So what should do is it's gonna delete Sandy and then all the Sandy emails, which is that one and that one. Let's see. Go back and delete. Cool. Let's do it. Fantastic. Let's check if that deleted. Voila. All done. Fantastic. Now you've just learned how to use basically in a crude operations using SQLalchemy, Python, and SQLite. You can connect to any database, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, MySQL, anyone. Pretty much the big ones. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, like the video and hit the bell. Thanks for watching and see you next time.